So much going on throughout the course of the day, so many interesting things to talk about and to hear about, and we're running a little bit behind schedule as a result of that, so we're still adjusting a little bit. I think we're going to move our photo to just before dinner, but over the next, well, actually, before we do it, I almost forgot. There's so much going on today that we really wanted to take the opportunity to think about summarizing a little bit of it for you. I know that a lot of people have been taking notes and thinking about the panels and the comments and the suggestions and the action items that you might bring back to your own institution. I think that's incredibly important. I think most of the people in the room will walk away hopefully feeling like they've met some of their people, and hopefully they'll feel inspired, and hopefully there's at least a few action items in your notes where you can go back and really make a difference. But we would like to invite Michelle Gillespie to come up to the stage to offer a little bit of her own summary of what she's observed. She's been involved in the coalition for quite a while. She's on our steering committee. She's also the provost at Wake Forest University, where she began her role as provost on July 1st, 2022. Prior to serving as provost, Dr. Gillespie was dean of the college at Wake Forest. She led the first comprehensive core curriculum review in 2 decades, launched a 5-year college-wide diversity action plan, co-chaired the president's first-year Experience Commission, and implemented significant new academic programming, including the Wake Washington program and Wake Downtown, and the Environmental and Sustainability, African American Studies, Engineering, and Biochemistry and Molecular Biology majors. Dr. Gillespie joined the Wake Forest faculty in 1999, was named Kale Associate Professor in 2004, Associate Provost in 2007, and Presidential Endowed Chair of Southern History in 2013, before assuming her deanship in 2015. She earned her MA and PhD in History from Princeton and her BA in English and History from Rice University. She is an award-winning teacher and prize-winning author. Michelle.
Hello, everyone. It's been a really rich, wonderful, long day, and I'm not going to talk too long, I promise you. Keith wrote me a couple weeks ago, sent me an email, and he said, "Hey, Michelle, would you be willing to do a summary of our first day together?" And I said, "Sure." And now I'm up here before you after such an extraordinary day, and I think, wow, why did I say sure? But I do have things that I want to share with you. I want to begin by saying congratulations. Congratulations, Keith, to you for your leadership here today and putting something that is so incredible together. Thank you to University of Miami, who've been continue to be the consummate hosts. Our presenters have been marvelous, and I haven't been with such an extraordinary audience asking such amazing questions before. So gratitude really is what I want to express to all of you for your vision and your energy and commitment, and it really is humbling to be one person up here to share my summaries. So I've got 3 big picture takeaways and some themes you may want to add. I'm sure you're going to want to add to them. The first big theme I saw is the power of our coming together to be a stronger community, to recognize our connections, but also our differences in our commitment to this transformational work, this transformational education.
I did.
And we have someone with us talking at the same time. And that tells you how important the coalition building is and how we share these values-based work together. I was also thinking that how do we tell our stories better? I was really reminded by the media session today. How do we tell the power of this coalition building? I work with our communications officer, and he is always and I always want him to tell better stories, to tell the good stories about the things that are happening at Wake Forest. And he always says to me, "Michelle, what works is not those good stories. What works is the man bites dog stories." And I said, whoa, okay. And then I was thinking today, as man bites dog, and the particular historical moment that we're in is maybe the coalition building that we're doing here around transformational education. In fact, man bites dog after all. Another big picture takeaway, I think, is our responsibility. I feel an enormous responsibility of investing in our shared leadership work together. And I think this is important here because the Coalition for Transformational Education is really representing part of a larger move to catalyze a national movement. So how can we seek students' flourishing and well-being? What is our responsibility in this, and how do we articulate this to this larger movement? Today has shown us that we have so much to contribute to this critical conversation. And the third big picture theme that I see today is what it has meant to imbue each other with the courage to hope. It's been a tough time in higher ed. We've talked about this. It's an especially tough time in American society. And here we are literally practicing and sharing hope together across our different institutions, and we're sharing it in a way that matters for our society and for each other. So those are sort of the big picture takeaways I'm sharing with you, and I have some themes here. One of the themes is the whys behind doing this transformational education work. What I've heard is so much commitment to student success, different ways of going at it, but still so many connecting points, from student flourishing to finding meaning, purpose, to learning and growing in college across lifetime, vocational exploration, leadership, and character. And I've also heard across this institutional reasons as well, and how we sort of marry those two, higher ed in relationship to the intense public critiques we're getting right now, how we're better able to explain what college is for, and how we can convince everyone that we are committed to student success for all students. Another theme that comes out of today for me is the substantive multiple co-curricular and curricular programming approaches. We've heard from so many great schools doing great things, from Lehigh 360 to Utah's Navigation U, the Kane commitment, the faculty learning community's presentation was fabulous. These are all systemic efforts to create transformational learning that builds meaning and purpose and values-based reflection. It is laudatory, it is ambitious, it is student-centric. Yet I think to myself, we might have talked more about how hard this work is. I know we're trying to give each other the courage and the strength, but we might have talked more hard about this, says the provost, someone who is a provost, who recognizes how really hard it is. At our table, we actually had some thoughts about this. We talked about how hard it actually is to get faculty and staff to come together. So how can we, in the conversations that you have with each other informally now, how can we help each other transcend some of the challenges of bringing our faculty and students together? We didn't really talk as much as we might have, though it came up in the last session. Resources. Getting institutional leadership aboard can be really, really hard. I know, you just talked about, right, we just talked about provosts who don't provide that money. We've been very fortunate. We have Kern and Lilly and other foundations who understand the importance of this work, but how do we help presidents and provosts get the word out, make this happen, get the resources there, help our trustees understand why we need to reallocate, why we need more, why we need this as part of our capital campaigns. And I'm going to give you one other hard thing that I don't think we talked enough about, and that is belonging. How well are we doing on our belonging? We know we're creating the systemic programs that really ensure, what we really want to ensure, the inclusion, right, of those people we most want to seek to have this experience, to have this education, to have this transformational education. But how are we making sure that we are ensuring access and belonging, and that we are really listening to those voices and not letting our structural challenges get in the way? Third theme here is the relational rich work that we're doing, the mentoring, the face-to-face, the personal. That has come through again and again and again. I also want to flip it. We are helping our students by making this face-to-face, but we also heard from Michael Lamb, from Eric Mazer, that the relationships we have with these students transform us, and we do our work better when we listen to our students and we understand and we have more empathy with our students. And there is a kind of humility to recognizing our own limitations in the work that we do and the assumptions that we make. And I think we have to remind each other of that again and again. And the ways that students themselves can lead learning is very powerful and very important, and I'd love us to talk more about that. I'm going to close out here with two related themes. The fourth theme I want to mention that I'm really, really struck by today at this conference in comparison to Georgetown, which was a great, great conference, and I learned so much, and it was super. But this conference I heard again and again research and practice, research and practice. We really, really talked about the assessments we're trying to build into the work we're doing, the accountability that we're trying to do it, and how we're turning this into research itself, how we're putting out publications, right, to help document what we're doing and get the work out more broadly, more effectively. And that's what academe does better than just about everybody else in our society. And I think we need to drill down as we do this work even more. Data and evidence do make a difference. And we heard from the media panel how important that is to making what we do convincing to the rest of society. And I still think research and practice is related to the fifth theme I want to close out with, and that is the storytelling. I think the storytelling really, really matters because that's what it means to be human. We heard individually, we did collectively in here today for each other, and it cemented our relationship to each other. It cemented our courage and our hope. We talked about our own experiences. Our presenters did that. They made themselves vulnerable in doing so, and we did this in our exercises, and it built connection right away. It grounded each of us in the work that we're doing together. I think that's really important. But now let's take it up higher to telling stories. We have to do such a better job of telling stories that capture the heads and hearts of our colleagues in academe. That's important, the ones who aren't here with us today, but we have to do it in bigger. We have to do it with the larger public. We have to do it with our parents and our employers, and we have to do it across politics, and we have to do it with industry. We have to do it with everyone. We have to show them that the transformational education that we are building is in fact great, that it does make an extraordinary difference for our students, all our students in relationship to access and opportunity in their time in whatever colleges we are at. It does doing it collectively across higher ed, and it's making a difference in these young people that we send out into the world to do the work, both the career work and the work of being in a society that is in tremendous transformation, disruption, and flux. But we've got it, and we can do it. We just have to tell our stories much, much better. Okay, I know you have more themes and more things to share, but I'm going to close there. Thank you.